think about Rick Bisson becoming the next mayor? Are you surprised that he beat the incumbent?
I think I mentioned this earlier, but going back to the 2006 race with Arakawa and Tavares, you saw things kind of unfolding the same way, right? This momentum within the community, the shift that you saw happen with the results, in this particular race, in the primary, right? As Bisson kind of elevated, and it came straight through into the general election. The numbers speak for themselves. The Maui voters have, basically, said what they want to see happen in the future. You heard, I guess Mayor-elect or soon-to-be Mayor-elect Bisson talk about sort of his plans and where he wants to go. And so, but yeah, it's interesting to see this happen. It's unfortunate, I think, for Mayor Victorino. He really worked hard. He was a good mayor. I think he really did some positive things for the community, but I think Mr. Mayor-elect Bisson's going to do some amazing things as well.
It's tough having been a mayor during the pandemic as well.
Absolutely. I mean, for 2 years, he essentially was locked down, with the quarantine and everything else going on. He wasn't able to get out there into the community, be able to, sort of rub shoulders with community members, which, Maui's a small place. Maui County is a small place. And, that sort of social interaction is really important, as you're out there, working the crowd and, getting votes and getting ready for the next election.
And you, having been in an administration and having worked closely with Mayor Arakawa, just what can he expect?
It's the transition, right, that's going to have to take place. He's going to have to put his cabinet together, who he wants to serve in different roles. There's, 13 or 14 different departments that he's going to have to consider, director and deputies. What's interesting now is that a lot of those positions are going to have to go before the council for confirmation as part of that process. And so finding the right people to do the job, I think, is going to be a really, it's an important task, for the new mayor, right, to make sure that you get off on the right foot. There is a learning curve, obviously, that's going to be, part of that experience. And, again, if he can find people that maybe have some past experience within the county government, maybe former directors, possibly former deputies, it would really help them out a lot, I think, to go forward and to hit the ground running, because that's really what the voters are going to be looking for. They want change, so.
This day and age, everybody wants change now, right?
That's right. It's instant, right? Everything is instant. So we'll see what happens. I'm very excited about what's going to be happening in Maui County and looking forward to watching it.
And any surprises for the council races?
I was looking at some of these races, and it's interesting to see how the Lanai seat with Ricky Hokama, who came out strong. Against Gabe Johnson, who, look, Councilmember Johnson, I had a chance to meet him in the past, over the past couple of years. Great guy. He's been doing a lot of positive things for the community, but, it's hard to overcome that name recognition with Councilmember Hokama. And again, Hokama also did a lot of great things when he was in office as well. And so Maui voters, I think, have remembered that. And, they went to the ballot box, thinking that way. So very interesting race there. The other one that I think is still a little bit close, is the Hana race. You've got Carol and Sinensi being the incumbent. So we'll see what happens with that. We still got a lot. There's, the walk-in votes today.
We saw the long lines.
Right, the long lines, and what was it, like 30,000 mail-in votes. And typically Maui's got about maybe a 50% voter turnout for the general election. So if you look at the numbers, 114,000 registered voters, there may still be a lot of votes out there to count. So this thing is definitely not over. One last thing I wanted to mention was that if you look at the blank votes, the blank votes really spoke to what people were doing with the mail-in. People came out to vote for the mayor. They came out to vote for the governor. They came out to vote for their senator, for those seats. And but if you look at the blank votes for the council, you had 4,000 or 5,000 blank votes. So people were very clear about what they were doing.
And those votes could have made a difference.
Certainly could have. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much, Araki-Regan.
You're welcome.
Former managing director for the County of Maui. Back over to you, Rick.
Okay, thank you so much.